Good day, I'm Tam, the creator of Live to Inspire Movement. And with this channel here, we are here to inspire you and our artists of the day. So we got two main questions that we ask here. First question is like, what inspired you to do what you're doing, you know? Like, how did you come up with that? And then the second question is like, what keeps us fueled and motivated to do what you're doing, you know, right? Like, what are the things that are taking you to the next level to enhance that and make you get all creative and wanting to keep on going and doing, right? So here's an inspired story with, and then
O.G.lolas. Hi guys, I'm Chef Mary D with O.G.lolas. Shall I just go ahead and answer that first
yeah,
question?
like how did like take us back when like
Okay,
you were a kid or whatever, whenever the flavor, whenever the time, like we want to go back, you know?
back. Okay. First of all, thank you for having me. I'm feeling very blessed to share this time and space with you. I haven't met you yet, but your energy is very full of light, and I'm thankful.
Oh,
Um, so taking it back, what exactly are we thinking? Like where it all started with food?
yeah, with food. Where did it start? Where you had the curiosity of like wanting to cook it, you know?
Actually, that didn't start. And I mean, I would always watch my grandmother, my Lolas. That's what O.G.lolas stands for, basically. So you probably know this, you probably don't, but Lola in Tagalog translates to grandmother. So a lot of my recipes and just flavors come from my ancestors. My both of my lolas, my grandmother on my mother's side, she was more of the savory, like, you know, dishes, the ulam, we call it, the main dishes. You know, she knew how to cook that kind of stuff. And then my grandmother on my father's side, she was more of the baker. So she cooked all of the sweets. And I just remember um, staying up late and helping her bake all the time. She had like hella customers, like local customers.
Yeah.
Just she would just be serving the community, basically, kind of what I do. You know what I mean? Um, so, but I didn't. I would watch them. You know what I mean? But I really didn't start cooking for myself until I moved out, and really didn't have a choice. And then I'm just such a like wifey type. Like I just love to cook for my significant other. So like honestly, that is what um I don't know. That's what I like self-taught. You know, I just kept trying to cook like new dishes every single night. And so
That's beautiful.
yeah, I just love to, that's my love language, you know. I love to cook and I love to share food with my loved ones, my family, my friends, my partners, obviously. So yeah, so that's kind of the
No, it does.
background.
It's
Yeah.
speaks volume, you know, you know, give somebody something, you know, that you like put your heart and soul into it. Because when you really cook with your heart and soul, like it
You
tastes
can taste
so
it.
good. You can
You
taste
can taste it when you enjoy it, you know, like I thoroughly like enjoy cooking. I enjoy the process. I love creating different flavors, and you know, just I really, that's how I, you know, show you I love you, for real, for real. So if I cook for you, if I've cooked for you, I love you for sure.
you can really tell too. Like I've been looking at your pictures and I'm just like, wow, like this
Thank
food
you.
just looks so yummy. Like, and then
Thank
the way you
you.
have it all spread out, right?
Yeah.
So how do you go about doing that? Like what got you
Um
to say like I want to do it this style?
So that's actually a traditional way of feasting. So with Filipinos, I mean, I think every, you know, culture really loves to share space over food, but like Filipinos, there's really no like boundaries with space. Like we just love being like real close with each other, and like sharing food is, you know, also just what we love to do. And so that was actually the way that my ancestors ate way back in the day before like being colonized. You know what I mean? With utensils. We all really just ate with our hands. And
Yeah.
so it's actually like a tradition to, it's called a vegan, it's, well, it's not usually vegan, but it's called a Kamayan feast. So Kamay actually translates to hands. So that's where Kamayan comes from.
Mm.
Yeah.
And it
So
gets you direct contact with the food
yeah,
too.
and it's also just, a whole like sensory experience. You get to be more mindful when you eat, a little slower. You're not just like stuffing your face with a big old spoon of stuff. Like you just get to, feel the textures, and it like when food is like enjoyed that way, you can start with like, or you can have like a full sensory experience, you know what I mean, with your food. um and being able to touch your food kind of sends signals to, your brain and your stomach, getting you ready to like actually like digest properly, if that makes sense.
Wow. I
Yeah.
have to go back to that. I've been experiencing that with a friend of mine. Like we breathe, and then we chew our food very mindful,
Savor.
and flavoring it, and honoring
Yes.
it, thankful for it, too.
Yeah. Yeah. I think eating is a sacred time, you know what I mean, especially when you're with people that you love. So it's cool to just like take your time and share when you eat, and instead of it, like I feel like in our culture, like fast food is, everywhere. So that's what we're really known for. So when we can just like slow down, share a meal together, it's just a really cool experience. So hopefully one day you'll get to join at one of our Kamayans. But
Almost
yeah,
definitely.
it's a lot of fun. And then it's kind of my way of like getting like cooking is, cooking can be creative, but sometimes when you get to create like a whole like feast like that, it's just I get to really tap in with like colors and textures, and just creating something really pretty, really
Your
beautiful.
artistic side comes out.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
So I love that part about it too.
beautiful.
Yeah. And then also like when when we have them here in Las Vegas, like the community ones, they're usually with, strangers and people that you don't know. And I haven't really been able to host those as frequently because of everything going on. But those are a lot of fun because you get to like, just connect with people you usually wouldn't in a very, very like intimate setting. So, you know,
Tell us about the best party yet that you served. Tell us that. How did it go?
the best one. Which one had the best vibes? Ooh, probably it's a mix between my very first solo one, because the first one I did, I had some help, but my first solo one was just bomb vibes downtown. It was at Veggie Nation. Do you remember? I'm sure you remember Veggie Nation. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was in the back patio. That was a lot of fun. And then also, I hosted the first one after COVID, like to see everyone come together again and like not be afraid of like touching each other and like the masks and all that stuff. Like it was just really beautiful to like put the community together again. You know what I mean? Like I feel like we feared each other for so long, all that time not being able to be in close quarters. And then like the first one I did, it was actually this earlier this year, April. um it was really beautiful to have everyone in one small sitting and they weren't like scared. You know what I mean?
Now, how do you go about getting your clients? Like, how do you get people to come in to like, are they ordering to their house, to have the spread, or you're like selling
Um,
for like table setting or what?
I do for the Kamayans, you mean, or just my food in general?
For like Lola's, yeah.
I mean, like for just for my whole business in general.
Yeah.
How do they get my food? Um, so different ways. So I do a lot of private events. You can always just contact me, and set up a private Kamayan feast or private catering. I also have pop-ups. I used to do farmers markets a lot.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
but that's a lot of work. Like I give props to people who that's all that's all they do. You know what I mean? I know a lot of food business owners and chefs that literally only do markets, and that's a really tough hustle. And so I give them props for sure. But I did that for like a year, and that was just, it was like backbreaking work. Yeah, so it's a lot to bring out like food equipment out to like the middle of nowhere, you know what I mean? And then so now I have pop-ups at Vegas Test Kitchen. Have you heard of it?
Yeah, I
Okay.
went to eat there. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I'm there every Monday now. And so people can just come by and eat there every Monday for Meatless Mondays. And then also, how else? That's really it. Just I like to keep it very small and personal, honestly. Like just reaching out via like private message, or text me. Like my work text number is like out, you know what I mean, for people to just ask me questions whenever. I don't think this is something that I would want to like grow per se into like a big business. I want to keep
Oh,
it
yeah? So
small.
what do you
Yeah.
really want to get into? Or what do
Huh?
you, or is there something else that you're wanting to get into as well? Or is it just the, food
I
right
just
now?
want to keep doing this, but maybe like in different cities, like
Mm.
traveling and doing pop-ups, like the Kamayan feast in different cities. That would be fun. Um, Possibly like a cookbook, something like that. Something's just small and personal. I don't want like a restaurant or anything like that.
What do you think has been the most challenging thing?
Challenging. um, Man, that's like all the time. Like running a business is just putting out fires left and right. But honestly, challenging would have to be just like staying consistent with social media. Honestly, like that's one thing that is kind of challenging, just to like stay active. And like I'm usually not someone that you know posts all the time, or I'm older, so I don't know, it's just not something that I do all the time. So that's a little hard to keep up with
I was gonna ask you
sometimes.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah. And like I would, I guess, hire someone to take care of that, but again, I don't really know if growing it that way is what I want. So yeah, for now it's fine, but that's a challenge. Probably just um cooking that much food in like for each pop-up. It's a lot. Like the grocery haul that I have to do, the prep time, the prep really is people don't see like how many hours I put in to like create the food. You know what I mean? It's not like Filipino food is not simple food. You just there's it's tedious, especially like rolling lumpia and doing like the barbecue skewers. It's just, especially for that many orders and that many people, it's challenging to
Right.
keep up with like the
Serving.
the cost too, like of like inventory constantly. I'm at the grocery store every day.
Do they know your name yet? Or
I'm sure they do. Some of them
right.
do. Some of them really do.
What would you say has inspired you lately? What are
Ooh.
things that you're like, damn, this is making me like go, yeah,
I
to the
love
next
it.
level. Uh,
I love it. Okay, so lately, um uh just honestly, the people that I surround myself with. I think your environment really, you know what I mean, just really helps you stay on the path that you feel most aligned to. You know what I mean? And like I just feel like the people that I hang out with are just so inspiring um to keep going and serving the community. You know what I mean? To be there for each other, and like to realize that that's what life is all about, is just supporting each other and connecting, and just keeping the love like flowing. You know what I mean?
right? Yes,
Yeah.
I love it
Yeah.
too. I love
Yeah.
people. That's why I created this channel. you know,
Yeah.
to inspire me, because I love talking to people, you know, hearing like
Yeah.
what like gets them doing what they're doing, you know, so that way
Yeah.
we can,
Of
you know,
course.
learn and we bounce off ideas and things like that, you know, right?
Yeah. Yeah. What's your sign? I'm gonna ask.
Really?
I'm that girl. Yeah.
Oh, okay, I'm Virgo.
Oh, okay. Got
Mhm.
you. Nice. Like
So
doo-wop.
yes, that's why she's my sister.
Oh, I love it. Love it.
We are so much alike, that kid. So what else has been like the thing that keeps you like feeling motivated to do it, you know, like, yeah, you have all your friends and they inspire you, you know,
Um,
like,
Having a sustainable like planet for our kids and our future to like live on, you know what I mean? That was really why I started in the first place, was because um I love the kids, you know, and I do it for the kids in the future too. Like it's obvious that, you know, what we're eating today on in a normal American diet, you know what I mean, has a lot of
hotties, hot Cheetos.
negative effects on our bodies, our minds, our environment, the planet, like all of it. So really, honestly, just being focused on the main goal keeps me focused and keeps me inspired to keep going. Because I know that something as small as this actually creates like a ripple effect in, you know what I mean, like in our culture, because our culture is so meat focused, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I think we all know what, you know,
It's really going on.
meat production does to the world and people. So
Yeah, it's
um
so sad for the poor animals, you know. I mean, we can go down
yeah,
a
of
rabbit
course.
hole, but
Yeah.
Mhm.
Them being included in Mama Earth for me, you know what I mean? It's just so that really keeps me focused.
Thank you for that. You know,
Yeah, of course.
adding your value, you know, to help the value of the youth, you know.
Yeah, it's just it's such a big part of my life, you know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
doing something every day, because there isn't much that we can do um on our own, you know what I mean? But like if all of us collectively, individually, just made better choices, or we're even aware of that there were other choices, you know what I mean? um it just can help tremendously. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
What what would I say? Let's see. How do you want to inspire others? Yes, but I wanted to go back and ask you, like, so what's take us down this rabbit hole, will you, with me,
Okay.
about a dish that you love creating and why?
The dish that I love creating. Um, what do I love
How does it
cooking?
make you feel when you do that? Yeah.
I actually like, as tedious as it is, I thoroughly enjoy the baking more than cooking sometimes. Just because it's like more like therapeutic, and
Oh,
there's like a science to it. It's like
yeah.
exact, so it's gonna come out the same way every single time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, focus
Um,
there.
yeah, you focus more, but like with just because like with other, you know, the savory foods and stuff, like there's a lot of like, I don't know, for me, I don't measure anything when I'm cooking like that. So yeah, I mean, I kind of can eyeball at this point.
Oh,
um
shit.
yeah, I can eyeball seasonings at this point. No, I really can. Like I've been cooking so like every day for the last 3 years. So it's just, you know, kind of second nature at this point. But still, there are days when you're just a little off. You know what I mean? And I might have put too much of whatever, you know. So, you know, sometimes that happens with like other food. But with baking, it's like you have a recipe, it's like, you know what I mean, it's like it's precise, so like literally everything comes out uniform every single time. So I really like that part about baking, and I enjoy making like pandesal. I don't know if you've had it.
I don't think so. I've heard of it, but I don't think
Yeah, so it's like childhood favorite, like just the the most simple like bread, but it's just like with coffee in the morning, it's like a staple, you know what I mean? So like when I make that, when I do things that are very nostalgic, right?
so.
So I love taking people back to their childhood, especially kids that are, you know, vegan and Filipino. It's so nice to hear them say like, you know, wow, this took me back to, you know, my childhood or something my grandmother cooked. Like, I love that.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It's an awesome feeling, right? To like give
Hmm.
to people to wake them up and remember times
Yeah.
with themselves, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. That's what I'm here for. Really is like food is such a universal language. You know what I mean? It's a very special way to connect with people. And when you hear people, you know, eat your food and the feedback is like, oh my God, this reminds me of like my Lola's cooking or whatever. It's just so nice, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's see. So now, how do you want to inspire others?
Hmm. Um, in so many ways. I want to inspire others by just continuing to show up in love every day. You know, there's a lot of life is life can be, you know what I mean? A lot of chaos sometimes, but you know, we take it one day at a time with love. I feel like, you know, I'm getting shy.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, and just inspire others by following their dreams and not really worrying about the outcome, like when it comes to, you know, money or whatever, like that is the lowest form of exchange, right? So like I feel like if you just come, if you just radiate like, you know, your love and your passion and you do things that make you happy, like that's what attracts what you need into your life. So I just feel like you know, follow your dreams, like for real, for real. Just do what makes you happy, and all else follows, honestly. Because I never knew in a million years, like I haven't been cooking my whole life. Like this is not what I've been doing. I just started this 3 years ago, and before this, I was working a 9 to 5. You know what I mean?
Oh
Every
yeah.
day. Oh yeah,
And then
every
so
day.
what was that pivotal moment when it was like, no, I have to do this?
Honestly, I had been struggling like my whole like adolescence, my 20s, like just figuring out like what I wanted to do with my life and with my career, you know what I mean? Just like kind of dabbling in like everything in the medical field, like a normal Filipino chick would, you know what I mean? And just like, you
Yeah.
know, like
Wow.
I was in nursing school, and I actually was in the pharmacy, like I was a pharmacy technician for almost 4 years. So yeah, that's what I did before this. So, you know, just being surrounded by like Western healthcare per se, you know what I mean? It just really, I was so just kind of depressed, you know what I mean? Just really witnessing on the inside what we were doing to our communities when it comes to healthcare, you know what I mean? And I I just didn't really agree with a lot of the medications and the approaches that we were doing in our hospital. So then that got me thinking and like reading into like more holistic care, right?
Yeah.
And it just it shined a whole new light on like what healthcare meant when I started like digging deeper into like more natural care. And then what was the original question? I feel like I'm going really off track.
No, 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 because what we're talking about is we're diving into like how you
Oh,
left your job, and
yeah,
was
okay,
like,
okay. So
this is what I'm gonna do.
yeah, so I just so then I actually went through a time in my life of solitude, honestly. I spent like 6 months by myself when I was 29, like right before I turned 30. And those 6 months, I really tried to focus on what I wanted out of life. And I knew that like the whole 9 to 5 just wasn't like aligning with my like soul purpose, you know what I mean? So I just really dug deep and spent a lot of time by myself without other people's energy or influence, and just really oh, and there was also this TED talk. There was this TED talk that
Who
I
was it?
watched.
Who
I
it was?
I have to find it and send
Was it
it
a
to you.
woman or a man?
It was a man. But basically it was a very short message, but it was like, to find your passion, you have to ask yourself 2 questions. The first question is, what are you already good at? Like, what can you do where you don't need any like training or practice with? Like, everybody's good at something. So, okay, I'm pretty good at cooking. Like, my food tastes all right. You know what I mean? And then the second question was, and how can it help other people? And so I felt like sharing vegan food was gonna help other people. So then I watched that, and I mean, tons of other TED Talks and tons of other YouTube videos for sure. But like that was one that really stuck with me for some reason when I asked myself those 2 questions. And I was like, okay, like maybe I could get out of the medical field and do something that I love every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's really how I figured it out. It's just spending time with yourself, really getting to know yourself, what you really like without other people around. You know what I mean? Just really knowing yourself helps a lot. And I know some people don't really have that luxury with kids and stuff, but I definitely took advantage of that time I spent by myself.
It's a good thing that you bring up, because I think of that a lot myself. I'm like, look, like I see, single parents, and they're they got their kids, right, and everything, and they're going to school too. And then
Yeah,
they get that higher, position that they need, for their family. And I'm like, man, I have no excuses.
right.
I got no excuses. So come
Yeah,
on.
yeah, honestly.
Right? You got to push
So
through, so that way you give hope to others, others like see that you're doing it, you're living your best life. And then that makes them like really
you
want to go
just,
and get them too.
for sure. Um, you just really have to tap in, like, deeper into like life. I feel like you can offer so much more than just your time and energy to someone else's dream or someone else's business or a job. You know what I mean? Um, we're such like multidimensional beings. Like, we don't have to be stuck to just a job, you know what I mean? And I get that that's a ways to a means, and I feel very fortunate that I don't have children right now, you know what I mean? But at the same time, like, everything is energy. And literally, when you tap in deep enough and you realize that the universe literally gives you exactly what you need when you just radiate love and like happiness, like it does come in, you know what I mean? it,
Man, yeah.
some days I'm like, being an entrepreneur is very stressful because you don't know, like, it's
Right.
not a stable financial situation all the time, you know what I mean? But I notice when my energy is there and I'm, bringing that out to the community, like, it responds always, you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, every time I'm like, oh shit, I'm not gonna make it, and then it's like, oh wait,
Here we go.
it's here, it's right here, exactly what you needed in divine timing, you know what I mean? So just trusting God and the universe, like, really really makes a difference, honestly. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing, and thank you for sharing
Yeah,
everything else with us. You've definitely inspired me, a lot of high points in there,
likewise.
and love that you're doing something more for your community as well. So
Yeah,
where
same
can
to
people
you.
find you? Thank you.
um you can find me on Instagram, or Facebook at O.G.lolas or O.G.lolas.com. You can find me downtown Las Vegas every Monday. Hopefully, more cities to come. But yeah, you can find me there every Monday right now,
Awesome.
as of right. Yeah. But I really appreciate you.
Appreciate
And
you.
when are you coming back to Vegas?
Soon.
Okay.
Let me just end it off like this, saying that you are a living inspiration. Thank you so much. And remember, everybody, that you are the fire towards your dreams and your goals.